October 2022. James Corden explodes in a New York restaurant, called the most abusive customer in 25 years. His name trends worldwide for all the wrong reasons. Mocking legends, staff horror stories. His show was canceled. A brand declared toxic. But while his career collapsed in public, a secret £140 million business empire kept expanding behind the headlines. How did Corden lose everything millions saw, yet hold on to fortunes few even noticed? Here's the real story buried beneath the scandals. James Corden's public image unraveled in a matter of months, but his business footprint was quietly expanding far from the glare of late-night TV. The public story was scandal and spectacle. The private story was ownership and deal-making. Ownership changed everything. In January 2017, while audiences still saw him as the face of carpool karaoke, Corden secured something far more powerful than a celebrity paycheck: an ownership stake in Fulwell 73. He was not a hired host or a figurehead. He became a full equity partner, joining founders Leo Pearlman, Ben Winston, Gabe Turner, and Ben Turner. That step moved him behind the camera and into the boardroom, and it locked him into a share of every deal, every format, every syndication the company touched. Partner mattered. Fulwell 73 already had a reputation in the UK for sports documentaries and music specials. With Corden's arrival, the company broke into the American mainstream. The Late Late Show, produced by Fulwell, became a global export, and viral segments like Carpool Karaoke and Drop the Mic were spun off into their own franchises. Corden's value was not just his face on screen. It was his ability to turn content into intellectual property, and intellectual property into recurring revenue. Value shifted from salary to rights. The big leap came in 2018. Valence Media, backed by Eldridge Industries, did £45 million in Fulwell 73, becoming the company's sole outside investor. The deal supercharged Fulwell's ambitions, giving the 5 partners access to capital usually reserved for established studios. It also diluted each partner's stake, but the pie was suddenly much larger. By 2021, reports citing company filings pegged Fulwell 73's assets at £140 million. Corden's estimated 20% share translated to £28 million. On paper, a sum that dwarfed his Late Late Show salary. Those numbers lived in production contracts, intellectual property rights, and future projects. They were assets that could not be cashed out overnight. Assets looked impressive, but they were not liquid cash. While Corden's reputation took hit after hit in public, his net worth became increasingly tied to a corporate structure most fans never saw. The Fulwell partnership was a 5-way split, with outside capital layered on top. No single partner could act alone, and no single scandal could instantly unravel the balance sheet. The structure was built for resilience, designed to weather the storms that come with celebrity. Resilience had limits. That structure would prove both a shield and a cage. It helped protect Corden's wealth by spreading risk across partners and investors. At the same time, it tied his fortunes to theirs. Partners and outside backers could choose to stay or to exit. When money pulled back, the celebrity at the center could not simply sell his way out. Partnership contained him. The real story of James Corden's empire is not found in salary negotiations or endorsement deals. It is in the quiet shift from talent to owner, from employee to equity partner. That is where the numbers stopped being about what he earned and started being about what he owned. Equity changes the rules. Corden's name rarely appears on the front lines of Silicon Valley or Wall Street, but his fingerprints are all over a string of high-variance bets made at the top of the celebrity investment cycle. In April 2022, as the crypto market reached fever pitch, Corden joined an $87 million funding round in MoonPay, a crypto payments startup boasting a $3.4 billion valuation. The pitch was irresistible. Bieber, Paltrow, Kutcher, all in, all chasing the NFT gold rush. But the timing could not have been worse. Within months, Bitcoin lost 70% of its value, NFT prices collapsed by 95%, and MoonPay's paper gains evaporated. No public filings confirm how much Corden put in, but the odds of that stake ever returning a profit now look vanishingly small. This was a disaster of celebrity timing. The pattern repeats in other corners of his portfolio. In 2021, Corden backed Imprint, a Fintech startup promising to transform how brands issue credit cards. The company raised $38 million in a Series A, led by Kleiner Perkins, then added another $75 million in Series B funding. Unlike his crypto play, this one still has legs. Imprint continues to sign up partners and expand, making it the healthiest line item in Corden's venture ledger. It is a rare example of a celebrity bet that landed early enough to ride real growth, not just hype. Then there is Hintsa, a European wellness startup focused on burnout prevention and performance coaching. In 2022, Corden joined a €5.1 million Series A round, positioning himself as a champion of mental health. The irony is hard to ignore. At the same time, anonymous crew members from his own shows described toxic, high-pressure workplaces and burnout that forced some to leave the industry. The investment in Hintsa looks, at best, like an awkward attempt to profit from a problem he has been accused of causing. Corden's portfolio is a study in contrasts. There is the MoonPay disaster, classic celebrity FOMO, arriving just as the bubble burst. There is Imprint, well-timed, well-backed, still growing. And there is Hintsa, a bet on wellness with a side of public contradiction. None of these investments are liquid. None offer the steady cash flow of a TV contract. But together, they show Corden's ambitions stretch far beyond the world of entertainment. The risks are real, the rewards uncertain, and the headlines rarely tell the full story. While his reputation burned, his money moved into tech, finance, and wellness, sometimes chasing trends, sometimes landing ahead of them, always betting that the next big thing might outlast the latest scandal. Property has always played a quiet but powerful role in James Corden's financial story. In September 2017, he bought a sprawling mansion in Brentwood, Los Angeles, for $13.8 million. The estate, tucked behind gates and surrounded by manicured lawns, was more than just a status symbol. It was a foothold in Hollywood's most exclusive circles. But owning a trophy home is one thing. Turning it back into cash is another. When Corden put the property on the market in March 2023, the timing was far from ideal. The luxury real estate market in Los Angeles was cooling, and his own public reputation was under fire. The home was listed at $22 million, but ultimately sold in May 2023 for $17.45 million, nearly 20% below asking. On paper, that is a profit of $3.65 million over the original purchase price, but after taxes, fees, and years of upkeep, the real gain shrinks. The slow sale and steep discount show how even headline-grabbing assets can become a drag when cash is needed quickly. Back in the UK, Corden's property moves are harder to pin down. Rumors swirled about a new London mansion after his return in late 2024, with price tags as high as £11.5 million. But no public records confirm a completed purchase. His long-held Chiswick home, once listed for £25 million, was quietly withdrawn from the market. As for the supposed £8 million Wokingham estate, no evidence ties Corden to any such property. What is clear is that much of his real estate wealth is tied up in assets that cannot be liquidated at a moment's notice, especially when the market or his name is under pressure. For a celebrity whose income once flowed reliably from TV contracts, these property holdings offer stability, but not flexibility. When big projects demand fast capital, even multi-million-pound homes cannot fill the gap overnight. The headlines about wealth rarely mention the months it takes to turn bricks and mortar into spendable cash. Plans for Crown Works Studios in Sunderland arrived with an audacious promise to build one of Europe's largest film and television production hubs outside London, on a brownfield site along the River Wear. The blueprint called for 20 sound stages, 1.7 million square feet of facilities, and the potential to create more than 8,000 jobs in the Northeast, a region hungry for economic revival. The projected price tag stood at £450 million, a figure that dwarfed anything Fulwell 73 had previously attempted. The funding structure reflected the scale of the ambition. Sunderland City Council committed £120 million, leveraging public land and lobbying for government support. The Northeast Combined Authority, using central government funds, added £25 million to cover site remediation and preparation. But the real muscle came from the private sector. Cayne International, a global real estate investor, pledged £300 million as the lead backer. This mix of public and private money turned the project into a regional cause, with local officials touting the studios as a catalyst for creative sector growth and long-term economic impact. By early 2025, the site had secured planning permission and remediation work was underway. The council, now market testing for final delivery partners, continued to position the project as a transformative investment for Sunderland. The arrival of SpringHill, LeBron James's media company, through its merger with Fulwell 73 in February 2025, added a layer of international credibility. With Leo Pearlman and Maverick Carter named as co-chief executive officers of the new entity, the partnership promised to draw global productions and talent to the city. At this stage, the numbers looked solid on paper. Public funds covered the groundwork, private capital was in place for construction, and the merger with SpringHill positioned Crown Works as a flagship for both British and American media. The stakes were enormous, not just for Corden and his partners, but for a region banking on thousands of future jobs and a permanent seat at the table in the global entertainment industry. On July 1, 2025, Cayne International issued a public statement that it would withdraw its £300 million commitment from Crown Works Studios. The announcement landed with the force of a financial earthquake. Cayne's spokesperson cited adverse market conditions and a reassessment of risk, but the timing left little room for doubt. The withdrawal arrived just as James Corden's reputation crisis reached its peak, and speculation spread fast. Was this a business decision, or was it fallout from months of viral headlines? Official notices to Sunderland City Council and project partners arrived that same morning. Construction halted within hours. Contractors received stop work orders, and local unions scrambled for answers. The council, blindsided, called emergency meetings. Cayne's exit did not just leave a hole in the budget, it pulled the rug from under the entire project. A gap of £300 million was too large for any single replacement. Brand analysts weighed in, warning that celebrity-driven ventures are only as strong as their public faces. One expert called the situation a textbook case of reputational contagion, where investor confidence evaporates in the shadow of scandal. Cayne's statement included a boilerplate disclaimer that the decision reflected broader economic trends, not the actions of any individual. For those on the ground in Sunderland, the nuance was lost. By sunset, the future of Crown Works Studios was in limbo. 8,000 promised jobs were suddenly at risk. The project, once championed as a symbol of regional renewal, now stood as a cautionary tale. Behind closed doors, the scramble for new funding began, but the reality was clear. Raising capital for a celebrity-led project had become a near impossible task. The entire development now balanced on a knife edge, with every partner exposed to the fallout. By the end of 2025, James Corden's financial reality was unrecognizable compared with the peak of his late-night fame. The $6 to $9 million a year salary from The Late Late Show, the income that once covered lavish homes and global travel, had vanished. Syndication royalties and residuals still trickled in, but nothing matched the reliable stream of a network contract. What remained was a portfolio built on paper, a £28 million stake in Fulwell 73, real estate in 2 countries, and a series of tech and wellness investments that looked less impressive with every passing quarter. The numbers told a story of both abundance and constraint. Corden's estimated net worth hovered around $70 million, but most of that was locked in illiquid assets. His Fulwell share, the proceeds from a Los Angeles mansion, sold for $17.45 million, and property interests in the UK, whose true value was anyone's guess. The Fulwell 73 partnership, now folded into a larger entity after the Spring Hill merger, offered security against sudden collapse, but no easy way to cash out. Equity could not be spent on everyday expenses or new ventures without a buyer or a dividend. Meanwhile, the crypto bets that once promised fast upside had turned into a drag on his balance sheet. The MoonPay stake, part of an $87 million celebrity round in 2022, was now almost certainly underwater after the NFT market's implosion. Other investments like Imprint and Hinsa showed promise, but delivered little in the way of immediate returns. With income down by more than 80% and liquidity squeezed, Corden faced a new kind of pressure. He was trying to maintain a lifestyle built for a star, with wealth that was increasingly unreachable. 3 survival strategies remain after the scandal, each shaped by risk and precedent. The first is to replace Kane International's £300 million with new private equity or institutional capital. Instead of a single backer, the ask would be split, perhaps 3 firms at £100 million apiece. Every new investor will scrutinize not just the numbers, but the reputational baggage attached to Corden's involvement. Celebrity-led projects have rebounded before, but only when incoming capital believes the reward outweighs the risk. Private equity norms demand rigorous due diligence, and the shadow of public controversy lingers in every negotiation. The second path is an equity sale, liquidating part of Fulwell 73 or the merged Fulwell Entertainment stake for cash. In distressed markets, minority shares often sell at a discount, offering immediate relief but sacrificing future gains. Analysts recall cases where partners sold to larger studios or silent investors, usually under confidentiality. Forced sales rarely fetch full value, and buyers adjust their offers to reflect public sentiment and uncertainty. The third scenario is to scale down, delay construction, shrink ambitions, or phase the build. This approach preserves the core vision, but at a smaller scale and slower pace. Sunderland Council and local unions have weathered such setbacks before, but each cut reduces job promises and economic impact. To weigh these options, a roster of experts steps forward. Financial analysts versed in entertainment deals, private equity partners, Sunderland officials, and former Fulwell 73 executives. Their insights will probe risk appetite, reputation management, and the odds of recovery, equipping decision-makers with the tools to judge what comes next. Today, equity outlasts applause, but reputation still dictates access. In a world where a single viral moment can erase decades of goodwill, Corden's fortune proves money can't always buy a second act. As investors, brands, and audiences grow less forgiving, The gap between wealth and influence widens. The true cost of character, measured in lost opportunity, remains the only number that never fades. What's your take? Let's discuss below.